Alright folks, so here's what you're going to need to make a juggling ball. You're going to need a pattern. Let's see, I cut one out of cardboard here. You will also need needles. So here I've got a standard needle. Pins are optional, but they can be useful sometimes. This is also very helpful. It's a needle threader. I will show you how to use that in a moment. Scissors and 2 different colors of fabric. Also, it will be helpful to have, depending if it's a light fabric, you're going to want to use a color pencil. If it's a dark fabric, use a white pencil. If it's a light fabric, use a dark pencil. All right, just kind of opposites there, makes it easier to see. All right. So the next step is you're going to want to use your pattern and trace it out onto one of your fabrics. The important thing to remember is there are two sides to your fabric. This is the light side. You can see if I turn it over, this is much darker. That's what you want facing out when you're done. So any of your pencil marks, you want it to be on the inside. All right. So you're going to take the pattern. I'm going to use my cardboard one because it's a little bit stiffer, but you can see it's the same size right there. Put that down and just trace out your pattern onto the fabric. Notice the dark pencil was used on the light fabric, and all I did was just trace it out. All right, and then go ahead and cut it. So you can see on this one I've moved on to my black. I've got 2 of the yellow striped ones. I'm going to do my black, and I'm going to do it with the lighter pencil to trace it out. It should stand out a little bit better. There we go. So I guess it's hard for you guys to see that. See if I can put that up there. I might not put this part in. There you go. Now you can see the white on it. It's really dim around the edge there. All right. Now you have the 4 patches. They're actually going to be alternating. Black and yellow, black and yellow. All right. This will be enough for 1 ball. Okay, to start out, you're going to want to make sure the inside of the color, remember the dim side, not the nice and bright one, the light color, is facing out. Same thing, the pencil side of the darker color, if you're using a darker color, needs to be facing out as well. And what we're going to try to do is sew along this line from our pattern. So you're going to want to go along on the inside edge, right? Now you can come up to the center, or start in the center and then go across and then come back, but that's the basic shape of it. So if you want to use pins, now would be the time to grab a pin and just kind of hold the shape together for yourself. Now you can use any number of pins you want, 350 if you really wanted to, but remember the more pins there are, the more things to poke you when you're working. So I like to do 3 for something like this because that's gets me my edge, my top, and my other edge here. And as you finish going around, you just pull the pins out. Alright. Now to do your thread, I'm going to use black thread on this. Pull my thread out here. This is a new one. Pull out the piece. You're going to want to pull out about an arm's length. That's usually what I pull out for something like this. Maybe a little bit longer if you want it to be. So you can see mine is pretty long here. Alright? Pretty long. It's always okay to have extra. This stuff is cheap. That's not a problem at all. Here's the trick to the threader. So you see how there's like a little, it's hard to see. There's a little shape in there. Alright? You're going to put that little piece at the end through the head of the needle. So now you've got a nice big hole to put your thread through. You pull it through, get a little bit extra, and now you move this guy back out, pull the side through, now your needle is threaded. Right? Pretty handy stuff. Now is when you split it in half. So you get it so that the ends are about the same down here. And here, put them together. Zoom in a little bit here for you. You put them together. You loop. Go through the loop once. Go through the loop twice. And you pull it tight. Try to make it a nice big thick knot, right? A big thick knot there. Now it might not necessarily stick with that, but that's okay. And one thing you can do now is all this extra stuff on it, you can cut that off. That way it's not bothering you when you're trying to sew. So you just cut off the excess. Again, thread is cheap, don't worry about it. Now, here's what I'm going to do next. I'm going to go ahead and start it just by poking it through. Get this guy out of my way a little bit here. Poke it through. And before I pull it all the way tight, one thing you can do to ensure that it stays nice and tight is have the needle come back through from the other side. See, as you approach the knot, you see that there's a gap right there between the two threads. Go through that. And now you can pull the thread tight, and it shouldn't come out. Normally the knot will stop it, but if it's cheap cloth, kind of like the kind I bought, that knot might slip through the page, or slip through the cloth. So that's the way you stop it. And now you just do a standard stitch going back and forth. Back and forth. So the key to a good stitch, small spaces, so small space, small stitch, and keep them consistent. You want to keep them the same size, same space apart, and that's a really good stitch. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and just do the whole thing there and back again, like some of you guys were doing, and I'll probably show you a little update there, but I'm not going to record the whole thing. Alright, so you can see I've done my thread the whole time, and you can see it was nice and tight in the beginning, and then at the end I was getting kind of lazy, right? They're getting bigger and bigger and bigger. So that's not good. Rice is going to fall out of that. So there's two ways you can do it. One, you can just keep on doing the standard stitch and just backtrack it. This is the way that some of you guys did it last week. That's totally fine. You can do that, though you might find you have the same problem, right? What I like to do in this situation, though, is actually do what's called a whip stitch. So I'm back through the back side of the black right now. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go back through, straight through the yellow on this side, pull it around, and you see how it kind of grabs the edge of the cloth? Alright, that's okay, it's supposed to do that. Alright, and now I do go around again, and I'm going to get a little bit closer to the edge this time. Do it again. And you can do the whip stitch the whole way around, and what that does, takes a little bit more thread, so you might be short of thread on it, but that helps keep the rice inside the ball. Makes it a little bit better here. Alright. And then continue that the whole way around. Right? That's called the whip stitch right there.